Good morning to you all. I hope that you are all doing well. صباح الخير عليكم جميعا. إن شاء الله ربكم كامل بخير وصحة وعافية. We will continue with the lessons of civilization and we will move from the Sumerian to the Chinese. قبل شفنا السومريان، شفنا كيفاش يعيشوا، شفنا كيفاش حياتهم مرتبطة بالزيجورات. زيجورات هو هرم pyramid and it was the temple المعبد. شفنا كيفاش كان عندهم bazaars in order to do commerce, how they developed their life and so on. Today, we will move with the Chinese civilization, the Chinese الحضارة الصينية, and you are all familiar with that. So, we will see how this civilization started, okay? It started in an area called Eurasia. Eurasia هي منطقة تعجبات in Asia, in the continent of Asia, في قارة آسيا, and it was surrounded by mountains. The Benchka mountains, but it's a mountain. So it was surrounded by mountains. Now, the Chinese civilization was established due to the efforts of people. الناس هم اللي خلوها civilization because they didn't have fortune, but they decided to work on the individual. They decided to work on how individuals can produce the civilization. Now, it was established in Eurasia. Okay, it is close to the area of Russia, China, and so on. We will move to the other efforts of people. They worked on people and how they think, because if you change how people think, you will change the reality. إذا عقلية الناس تتبدل towards what is right, راح يتبدل الواقع أكثر. وهذا اللي في المهم. So they had also a system of government called Confucianism, and we will see what is Confucianism. It was a central rule, or having a central authority, because back then at that time, China suffered from what is called the warring states. كاين ولايات, let's say, or states, city-states, متحاربين في بعضها. For each one has a king, each one has an army, so they lived in a situation of war, not peace. But they established this. They decided to establish Confucianism and having a central rule. حكم مركزي, okay? Now, also the Chinese civilization was called, or people used to call it, the Middle Kingdom, المملكة الوسطى. Why? Because it was in the center of the world. For them, it was surrounded by mountains, it was surrounded by a desert, it was surrounded by many natural barriers. كان عندهم حواجز طبيعية. So they were not attacked by barbarians. ما كانوش في عرضة للهجوم. But ما كانوش في عرضة للهجوم, كان عندهم طريقة أفضل باش يطوروا. They had more, let's say, flexibility or way to develop themselves. Because if you don't have an invasion, إذا ما عندكش خطر جاي, you can do a lot in order to develop yourself. And this is what happened. They used to see themselves as the Middle Kingdom لأنها موجودة في وسط العالم. They thought they were the only one in the world. كانوا هم الوحيدين في العالم حسب اعتقادهم. Okay? Now, we will move to what the Chinese decided to develop, okay? It was called also the center of the world. Now we will move to what they produced. Due to the Chinese, now we have paper. Because they used paper, الأوراق, in order to print their coins. In order to print what is called money, okay? I remember also in the book of the famous traveler, Ibn Battuta, when he visited China, he said, I found coins or عملات ورقية in order to do trading. So they didn't have bargaining, ما كانش عندهم نظام محايدة. They had money at that time. It was really developed at that time to have money. Now, we move to silk. Silk. This was the primary source of income. Silk, حرير. We hear also now in China قاعدين يدوروا في حاجة اسمها طريق الحرير. طريق الحرير هو طريق قديم, an ancient trail, in order to do trading with Europe and the other places. So they depended on giving or trading with silk. يتاجروا بالحرير. And we call it also the bronze, or let's say the civilization of bronze, because they depended on bronze or bronze vessels in order to make, for example, to make vessels, to make swords, suyuf, and so on. They depended on something called the bronze, معدن البرونز, okay? كانت عندهم صناعة تحويلية at that time. Now we will move to what China had at that time. China had something called the River of Sorrow. The River of Sorrow. Do you know what this means? The River of Sorrow. نهر الأحزان. Okay? It was also called the Yellow River. The Yellow River is a river in China where people used to depend on that river in order to do irrigation, saqi, and in order to cultivate, because we said a civilization cannot flourish without water, without a water source, so they can do agriculture. It was called the River Sorrow, نهر الأحزان, because when the river flows, يطلع من سوق المياه, it destroyed everything, and it killed people also at that time. So they used to call it the River of Sorrow. And the Yellow River is the same. The Yellow River means النهر الأصفر. Due to what? When you take a look at the river, you will see how it is yellow due to the mud. This is why they call it the Yellow River. They also invented something called the pictographic writing. Pictographic writing is a type of writing where you don't depend on a language or a written language or letters, but تعتمد على التصوير. They draw something in order to give a message. It depends on, like I said, images or صور. On the seashells. Seashells هما الكوكياج مثل ما نقول بالفرنسية كوكياج أو السيشلز كما نقولوا احنا تاع البحر. القواقع البحرية يرسموا عليها البيكتوغرافيك رايتنج تاعهم أو حتى على the turtles السلحفاة. They just take the bottom of the turtle and they decide to draw on it. بيشرسموا عليه. Now we will move to the system of government, or like what we call it, not system of government, but a way of life, lifestyle, and it is called schools of thoughts. مدارس تاع الأفكار. In China, we have three major schools of thoughts, or schools of thoughts. We have Confucianism. This one, Confucianism. Well, it was established by Confucius, a philosopher, a Chinese philosopher at that time, in order to bring peace to China, because, like we said, China suffered from war and the warring states, so they had to find peace. Confucius gave his theory about the respectful relationships. It means that peace can be brought through Confucianism and through respect. There are types of respect. You respect the leader, then the parents, then the elders, and so on. It depended on respect and what we call it filial piety. Filial piety هي البر بالوالدين. Like we see now in China, they have a lot of, let's say they have filial piety due to what they had in Confucianism. Now, the situation of women in China, okay? At that time, women should respect. At that time, women were expected to do their job as housewives, and to respect their husbands. And something that caught my eye, that at that time, we know that the man is the one who gives the dowry to the woman. In China, no. In China, the woman gives the family of the man the dowry. They give the dowry to the family of the man. It was a form of respect at that time. Now we will move to the foot bending. Foot bending هي عادة when يحكموا where they brought like the foot of the woman and they bend it. سكروا عليها. And the woman grow up. She finds that her foot is too small. هذا كان معيار الجمال, a sign of beauty at that time. So, foot bending. Now we move to the Daoism. Daoism was created by a philosopher called Lao Tzu. Lao Tzu said that the war was brought because of greed, الجشع, السلطة, المال, and so on. So people have to live in harmony with the nature. يعيشوا مع nature and they try to be more peaceful. And he introduced the yin and yang. Yin and yang. Yin and yang are like concepts of power. يجوا داخل كتاب. كي توحد الين واليang, you can do a lot in life according to him. Now we will move to the legalism. Legalism was created by Han Fie. Han Fie said in order to stop the war, you need to punish people because people don't understand. They understand only according to law and force. So he decided that they should create police force, laws in order to protect people and to punish people with slavery. This was our lesson for today about Chinese civilization. I hope you enjoyed it. Please, if you have any questions, put them as comments. Thank you.